Well, that was grim. Um, yeah, this team is still capable of that level of meltdown. It's just sad. At the end of the day, these are just my knee-jerk reactions from this game, and all I can say is that I'm just sad. This United States team, if you look at it on paper, if you look at the Belgium team that was out there, it was a game that we could win, right? It was a game where the entire country was talking about the US soccer team, and as a soccer fan, right, we were starting to finally flip that switch, to finally get over that hump of, hey, like, of putting soccer in the public eye, of putting the sport that I love in the public eye, and they go out there and embarrass themselves. I think this is the biggest stage that the US has played on since, I would say since really 2014 when they played against Ronaldo. I don't think the Netherlands match was this big because of the youth of that team. And again, we're at a point where Pulisic goes down after 45 minutes and you're just missing an identity. I think at the end of the day, what we saw from this US team, and fair play to Belgium, fair play to their manager, they told the US, if you think you can beat us, come out here and prove it. And they didn't. They couldn't. And it hurts to see, because you get to a point, right, watching this team where you're like, who's going to be that team that's going to break through this ceiling? Who's going to bust the roof off of all of the expectations that you have on this tournament? When will this team overperform? They just haven't. And it's our level is the round of 16. This US team can be competitive against this team, can beat teams that they are better than on paper, and they have proven that throughout this tournament. They were able to break down low blocks. They were able to break down a top-class low block in Paraguay, right? They were able to beat an Australia team. They hung with Turkey with their backups. They did everything right in the group stage. They get to the round of 32, they lose a man, they go down to 10, and they played absolutely inspired. And then they stepped on the field today and looked shell-shocked, right? They're playing in front of a home crowd, right? This is something where you have to have the crowd behind you, and they didn't play like they had the crowd behind them for 85 minutes of this match, right? I think the 5 minutes before the third goal, where the US kind of started to settle in, right, was really the only 5 minutes. And I mean, Tillman's free kick, right? But Malik Tillman, we're going to get into the players a little bit more shortly, but yeah, it's just sad. And I think if we want to start with it, it's Poch. Like, his subs were interesting. I think, like, obviously this is going to be knee-jerk, but analysis-wise, I think it's very interesting who he trusts and who he doesn't. Brendan Aronson not playing knockout football, crazy to me, right? Especially in that Bosnia game where you need someone to just kind of run around and cause problems and cause havoc, and Tillman out there on one leg and you don't sub him for Aronson. Austin Trusty not coming in the second half of this game. It seems like he doesn't trust the non-starter European level players. And which is an interesting development, right? Like someone like Max Arston, who's linked to Middlesbrough right now, not playing after a rough first half from Anthony Robinson, and honestly a rough game from Anthony Robinson. Joe Scally not coming in on the right side, right, and shifting to a 4-3-3. which has shown in this tournament that we cannot play, has shown in multiple warm-up matches that we struggle with a 4-3-3, especially when Tyler Adams isn't at the 6. Sebastian Berhalter continued to have an outstanding tournament. He is a player that a lot of people have woken up to. I think coming into this tournament, this was inevitable. This was an inevitable breakout for Sebastian Berhalter, and I'm excited that he took advantage of that opportunity. But I think he's one of 3 players, maybe 4 or 5, that can come out of this tournament feeling confident. Any Bayernlings that Serginho Dest had before this match have to be off the table now. That was like this is not the same team that beat Paraguay 4-1. It's not. And I think it starts at the top, right? Pochettino, like, the subs that he made were interesting. His over-reliance on Ricardo Pepi this tournament, when he has proven that he's not a physical striker, and Flo Balogun just getting absolutely pummeled this game, right? Like, he went to war with the Belgian center backs, and he has gone to war with every center back this tournament. He does like a physical game, but got out physical today. And you know what? If he's going to play 2v1, that's going to happen sometimes, and he's not going to have that space to run into the channels that he wants to. Like, he didn't have that today. And yeah, guys like Weston McKennie, who in my opinion has had a very disappointing tournament, from the actual production level, that what he is doing. His space creation has been absolutely outstanding, but when you need your best players to step up, he did not do that. And you cannot have your best players being the one that are creating space for others. At some point you need them to be involved in the game, and there are multiple times where U.S. players in the middle of the field were just letting the ball go, right? Like, it was a dummy pass, but it was something where it's like, at some point, Flo Balogun, we need you to take a touch on the ball and rip it, right? We need you to have that moment. We need you, Weston McKennie, to have that moment. And there really was no one on this team who was capable, bar Malik Tillman, who was capable of creating a moment. I'm really excited to watch Tillman in the Bundesliga next year. I think if he stays healthy, he could have an absolutely outstanding season. I do hope he stays at Leverkusen, just because I don't think he really fits the Premier League that well. And just having a season in the Bundesliga will be good for him. But yeah, knee-jerk reactions, man, that sucks. But it's something where we knew coming into this tournament, like, this is it's everything that if you look at a roster analysis of this team, right, our goalies are not good enough, our center backs are not good enough, Tim Ream is slow, like, Anthony Robinson is not a great defender, it just is, right? He takes up a lot of space, he's brilliant going forwards, but he's bad in tight spaces, and he's bad at defending. And this is 2 tournaments in a row where we get to a knockout level, and Anthony Robinson is a weak link. This is 2 tournaments in a row where everyone in the midfield, it just looks out of sorts a little bit, right? Tyler Adams, who has been a rock in this tournament and continued to do so. I mean, the best definition of this game, right? He played a 40-yard ball that he just, like, Luka Modric pinged right across the field onto Alex Freeman's foot, and he touched it out of bounds. Like just straight out of bounds. Balogun had beat his man. McKennie had beat his man. It's 2-1 at this point, and all he had to do was touch it across goal, and one of those 2 was getting there and at least putting a shot on Courtois, and just couldn't do it. And it's the fact that we do not have 11 players at a top level, and we also do not have the grit of former generations, right? Like, when we were pressing and we were flying all over the field, that was a different level than some of these teams that have dug in, right? We're a team that wants to play, and against most teams in the world, we're going to have the talent to play. But against a team like Belgium, right, that becomes a little bit more difficult. And it would have been interesting to see this team play against Spain, to see if they would have gone a little bit more defensive. But obviously that's not the case. That's not something that we are going to see. Yeah. And just looking individually, right? You look at the goalkeeper room and it's just not good enough. Frankly, Matt Freese should not be a starting goalkeeper for a top 15 team in the world. He's just not that good. And this entire tournament, actually, it came to a head in the Australia game, where he didn't hold the ball for more than 3 seconds. When he would claim it on a goal kick, he would claim it out of the air, right? Like, he didn't want the ball. Like, the ball seemed like it hurt him, right? He didn't want the ball near him. And if you don't have a goalie that's comfortable with the ball at their feet, right? Turner's the exact same way. He plays erratic, like, and it kills me. Like, if you want to be a possession team, right? I've watched Columbus Crew play under Wilfred Nancy, right? Like, I've watched at the very top level of this game, and you've watched goalies in this tournament, right? Like, I mean, Vozinho, right, is taking touches around Lautaro Martinez, and you know why? Because he's comfortable. He's comfortable with pressure. He's comfortable with the ball at his feet. And Matt Freese today just folded like a wet napkin. He hasn't been asked to do much this tournament. When he has asked to do things like in this game, he hasn't looked good. And it's just not good enough. And it's something where it's a position of need for the United States, and a position that they're not used to needing. So there's that. Tim Bream was dreadful, man. Why did he have the captain's armband? It's Tyler Adams. You can tell this team rallies around Adams. This team rallies around McKennie, and it's not Tim Bream. And he shouldn't have been on the field. I don't understand how a manager at the level of Pochettino can see, hey, they have Jeremy Doku and Dodi Lukebakio, who are really freaking fast. They're going to counter us. They're not starting Romelu Lukaku because they know they can counter us. You have Chris Richards playing on one leg. Right from the beginning of this tournament, you knew that Chris Richards was not healthy. He came in with an ankle injury. You saw it today near the end of the match, right? The fourth goal was him just getting lost in his own, dribbling around in circles because he didn't have an outlet. And he, for one reason or another, right, just didn't boot that. And it was very similar to the Freeze goal, where he just looked exasperated, right? Looked out of his depths, and that's not something that I'm used to seeing Chris Richards do, right? I watch him week in, week out. That's not him. But there were multiple times in this game where you just see him jogging and something's off, right? So you're starting your star center back's playing on one leg, and then on the other side you have Tim Ream, who's just not able to pick him up. And Alex Freeman is, I think, in the long run, right, in a best case scenario, he is a right back, but is athletic enough to cover at right center back, is athletic enough to play comfortably at right center back, and has had a very good tournament, in my opinion. Today he was bad. Frankly, I mean, he's 21 years old, right? And he's going to have those moments. He looked young today. But he honestly, out of the players in this pool of looking forwards, really, what do you want to see in 2 years if we go back to a Copa America? What do you want to see in 4 years? When we're back in another World Cup, hopefully, right? What do we want to see in qualifying? Alex Freeman is a name that I don't expect to go anywhere. Anthony Robinson on the other side. When we're playing against a low block, when we're playing against a team that is going to sit in, you need someone who can cross the ball. And that is what Anthony Robinson is great at. He is not a possession player. He is a wing back in a defensive 3-5-2. That's not how the United States played today, and that wasn't playing to Anthony Robinson's strengths, and he's not a possession player. If you've seen him play more than once at the World Cup, you know he has a donkey first touch, and he folded today. Yeah, Tyler Adams and Malik Tillman take a bow, right? Tyler Adams covering for everyone on the field. You won't he is my Captain America, right? You heard the nickname that was given to Christian Pulisic was Captain America, right? But we'll get there. But he is that Captain America. He is the engine of this team, and I think he is our most talented player. I think he is America's best player. I think it's Tyler Adams. It's not flashy. Sometimes what he does is not flashy, but he is truly American, right? He's going to play with that confidence. He's going to play with that grit. He's going to jaw at you. Like, he plays like he played pickup, right? He is a CONCACAF player. He's a warrior, and my favorite player on this national team. And next to him, this was not Weston McKennie's best performance. I was really disappointed in him this tournament. I think this was, it may have been the way that Puch used him. But yeah, but he covered a lot of space. He covered a lot of ground still, right? And a player that's played 90 minutes. I'm very impressed with the workload that Wes was willing to take on. But he's a player that I would have subbed off in this game. And to kind of create something, right? To give you a spark. Gio Reyna did absolutely nothing. He got subbed on at halftime, and I didn't know he was on the field. And it's been a common theme with these attacking players, attacking mids, where they go missing for large portions of the match. I think Pulisic against Bosnia and Herzegovina did it as well, where he goes missing for 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And if you get subbed on, you need to be involved. I think the only thing I remember him doing was on the kickoff, trying to kick it out of bounds, and he kicked it straight to the left back. It's so hard with Gio Reyna, right? The argument of his maturity. Is he good enough? Does he deserve to be here? I think he needs to prove himself again. I genuinely think that the next World Cup cycle, there are 15 places up for grabs. We have become so accustomed to this is the starting 11 as US soccer fans. And I think that time is over. That part of the cycle is over, right? There are a lot of people knocking on the door that are ready to break through. And I think this next cycle will be very, very interesting to see who sticks and who doesn't. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if Gio Reyna is a name that we don't hear again at a World Cup. I would also not be shocked if Gio Reyna 4 years from now is a starter at this level. There's just so much variance in what he can do and what he can be, and I hope for the best for him. A name that I haven't mentioned, Serginho Dest, again, dreadful. All right, you put him in. He's not a good enough attacker to be a right wing, and you put him consistently in defensive situations where he has to make choices, and he consistently makes the wrong one. Yeah. But there's still something there with Dest. I think as a playmaker, he had a really good tournament. And was one of our more creative players. Has a little bit of that flash to him, but I mean, what were you going to do? Put on Timmy Weah, right? He's been a liability at this tournament. So you shift to a 4-back. And this team just isn't set up to play in a 4-back. Richards is not a 4-back center back. Tim Ream can't at this point in his career, right? And the 3-4-2-1 I think is the formation that fits this team the best. A 3-5-2 if you want to call it that, but no, Gio Reyna. Yeah, I don't know if he makes the trip. 4 years from now, Serginho Dest is still a player that excites me, is still a player that I think has a role within this team, but it's going to look a little bit different. And the guys behind him, Weah, um, just looked absolutely lost in his appearance, right? He was the worst player on the field against Turkey. And I think that is telling, right? The U.S. was missing a spark. The amount of times that I heard the announcers in this game go, who can give this U.S. team a spark, right? Like, that's a spark word. Like, there's just nobody. There's just nobody except for Malik Tillman. And it hurts. It hurts to watch, right? Like, a Balogun had an absolutely outstanding tournament. And I really hope that this red card controversy doesn't muddle that, because he truly was outstanding, and I think the team needs to be built around him. I think that we become some of these like smaller nations that have that star striker, right, and kind of build around that. I think that's what this team's identity needs to become. This is not Christian Pulisic's team anymore. I think this tournament really showed that. And I think this game is just a microcosm of everything that he's been through. Turns the ball 11 has 36 touches in the first half and 11 turnovers, and then goes off injured. And what is there to say that hasn't been said already that won't be said in the upcoming weeks, right? Pulisic is not the star anymore. He's not Captain America. He never really has been. But he was the changing of the guard, right? He was the changing of the perception of this national team. He chose us. So there's always going to be that love for Pulisic in there for me. But it's I think when we get to a point, in the Bosnia match, I think Lawless at halftime, Berhalter after the game said we need to get the ball to Pulisic more. I don't think we do, because I don't think that we need him anymore. Tillman played his role better than him. Reina looked more comfortable when he was given playmaker opportunities. Sebastian Berhalter came on and made more of an impact. Like, genuinely made more of an impact in this match than Christian Pulisic. And that's not something that I want to say. I want Christian Pulisic to be involved in everything that we have going forwards, right? I want him to be like a Xherdan Shaqiri, right? That Mo Salah even, right? Like a player that doesn't need to do a lot of the defensive work and can get on the ball and can create problems. But he's creating problems for us, right? We get into promising areas. We get our attacking numbers forward, and then Pulisic loses the ball. And then we get scared to throw numbers forward because he's not confident taking players one-on-one, and we lose the ball in the build-up because Anthony Robinson is the player that's behind him and he can't touch a ball, or it's Serginho Dest on the other side and we just lose the ball, and it's just over and over and over again, and it's a cycle, right? Like we don't have in the middle of the field, right, when Tillman was on the ball, when Tyler Adams is on the ball, even at times when McKennie is on the ball, like I'm confident that they're not going to lose it. They can do the little flicks. They can do the little tricks. Tillman can get his game lead back heel in. And I'm confident that they will keep the ball, right? That triangle, the diamond in the middle, right? Ballo, Adams, Tillman, McKennie, right? Like that is the core of this team. You can throw Richards in there. You can throw, I guess, a Freeman in there. I don't even know. But, yeah. And it sucks, right? This was the game. This was the game with all the eyes, and it hurts, right? I'm not excited to go to work tomorrow and talk about the U.S. game, where today when we had a meeting, like 15 people were in the room talking about the U.S. game, talking about the Balogun red card, like excited about this game tonight. And if we go out and we win this game, like what's the conversation around this U.S. team, right? At a national sports level. Right? The excitement around soccer is just so much higher, and just seeing them go out like this hurts. It hurts. Yeah, I think my pleasant surprises for this tournament, Balogun, Yeah, he was our best player. Um, Alex Freeman really was what everyone expected, and that excites me a lot. Actually, that's definitely a name to keep in our heads moving forwards. Tyler Adams, Sebastian Berhalter. The list ends there. I don't know. Chris Richards, Serginho Dest had good tournaments overall. But the question is, who can play in these games when it matters most? And the answer is not Christian Pulisic. And that hurts. And I don't know how I feel about that yet as a United States fan, right? As a player, as a where does this team marketing wise go from here? Where does this team identity wise go from here? But it's not Christian Pulisic's team anymore. Yeah, I don't know. We go into Spain. I think, are we confirmed for the Copa America yet? If we're confirmed for the Copa America, I think this team has to come out with some anger. But you say that after the Copa America that we hosted and got grouped in, and we did come out with anger. But how can we hold on to that, right? Also, you know what? Haji Wright not playing more in this tournament pissed me off. Brendan Aronson not playing more in this tournament pissed me off. Austin Trusty not getting another chance in this tournament pissed me off. I don't know. There's just, it is that second level of player that Poch just didn't trust, right? Is it different if we go out and we beat that Turkey team, right? If that game ends 2-2, is there more trust in some of those guys that didn't start in the other two matches? I don't know. If we don't give up that it's stupid third goal, if he just clears it, right? Do we come out and we get a second? I don't know. But it's a tournament of missed opportunity, right? And missed opportunity to capitalize on the momentum that the US had, but we did have some momentum, and so that's something. But overall, as a takeaway, this team is exactly who we thought they were, and that sucks because who we thought they were is not good enough. Christian Pulisic was not good enough. Yeah. Alright, well, I am going to call it a night. There's more World Cup action. I expect a full tournament breakdown coming soon, and a video about what this team looks like in 2 years and what this team looks like in 4 years coming soon, because I think that's super interesting, because where does this team go from here? Peace. Y'all have a good night.